Hello, welcome or welcome back. I've got a lot to get through today, so I'm going to get right to it. The last few weeks, ever since I kind of started entertaining the idea of beginning a BookTube channel, I've been a lot more active at going along to charity shops, as we call them here, or thrift stores, if you like, car boot sales, little free libraries, picking up books on the cheap, secondhand. And so this is going to be my first ever book haul video. I've picked up 47 books over the last few weeks. I now just need to try and find somewhere to put them. But first, we're going to talk through them. We'll start by cheating a little bit. There are 47, but 10 of them were this set. The Martin Beck mysteries. Let me pop those down because that's quite difficult. There we go. Yeah, the Martin Beck stories. So these are about a Swedish police detective. I didn't know a huge amount about these before picking the set up, but they were all together in one of the charity shops I went into, and they were asking £5, so 50p per book, which seemed like a bargain to me for a full set like that. They were originally published, I think, from 1965 to 1975, from the little bit of research I've done. As I say, police detective stories. I'm a sucker for detective stuff. And from what I read, they're kind of a precursor to the Wallander stories and some of those other kind of Scandinavian noir stuff that came afterwards. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting into those. Yeah, never heard of those before. Staying on detectives and mysteries, I picked up a couple of Sherlock Holmes stories. The first one, A Study in Scarlet, I believe is the first one. I've had the first collection of stories for a while, but I have this thing where I want to read series in order or publication order a lot of the time. So, yeah, A Study in Scarlet, which I believe was the first one, and then His Last Bow, which I don't think was actually the last published Sherlock Holmes book, but yeah, two Sherlock Holmes books that I will look forward to getting to one day at some point, and another Agatha Christie. I haven't read any Agatha Christie before. This is the first Hercule Poirot story, as far as I know, The Mysterious Affair at Styles. And if I enjoy that, obviously lots and lots of those to try and find over the coming weeks and months as well. But yes, when I get to it is another matter, I suppose. Sort of changing tack slightly, let's look at these. So, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is a book I read in my teenage years. I was probably 13, 14 maybe, and left a really good impression on me. I really enjoyed that book, but for some reason I've never read any of the others, and I managed to pick up these four. The sequels, Restaurant at the End of the Universe. Which one is that? That is Life, the Universe and Everything. So Long and Thanks for All the Fish and Mostly Harmless, which are the four books that came after. So yeah, really looking forward to that. I'll probably reread Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy first before I get onto those, but yeah, very excited to get onto those at some point. And then related, Douglas Adams, who wrote the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, made a video game called Starship Titanic in the 90s, I think it was. And Terry Jones of Monty Python, he voiced one of the characters in that, and I believe, my understanding is that Douglas Adams wrote an outline for a novel to accompany the video game, never got around to writing it, and gave his blessing for Terry Jones to write it. So yeah, I enjoyed the game back in the day. It would be very interesting to see how that is as a kind of accompanying piece. We're getting there. Okay, a couple of Discworld novels by Terry Pratchett again. To my eternal shame, I haven't read any Terry Pratchett yet, despite many recommendations. We've got The Fifth Elephant there, and Carpe Jugulum. Another good fun series to be collecting. We've got quite a few at this point, but still quite a few to go. But yes, I will get to Pratchett one day as well, if I can get around to actually reading rather than just collecting. Another series I'm really excited to try at some point because the premise is really of interest to me, are the Dresden Files. I picked up a couple of those, Turncoat and Changes, which I believe are the 11th and 12th books. I've got the first and second one on the shelves, so it's another series I really want to have a go at some point. Okay, we've got some horror pickups as well. Shirley Jackson's We Have Always Lived in the Castle, which I hear is very good indeed. don't know a huge amount about it, and I would like to kind of stay that way. Really, just go in and read it. I know that it's very well thought of. And then some others that are kind of been compared to authors that have been compared to sort of Stephen King over the years, or have been mentioned in the same breath at least. So Dean Koontz, there's one there called TikTok. Again, don't know a huge amount about what that's about just yet, or any of these other horror ones just yet. But Clive Barker is another one. That's Sacrament. Yeah, I know there are some other Clive Barker books that my brothers have recommended to me actually, that I really should pick up at some point as well. Let's see here. James Herbert, The Magic Cottage. Yeah, I picked this one up today, and it was part of a bundle I picked up. But yeah, I haven't managed to research too much into that one just yet either. And Richard Lehman was another author that I think my brothers mentioned as well, and I picked up a couple of his about a week or so ago at the little free library, I think, our local recycling centre, Alarums, Bite and Fiends, those are the two there. So yeah, lots to be getting on with here. Let's pop those there. Okay. So I spoke in the previous video about how much I love Never Let Me Go, one of my favourite all-time books. The next Ishiguro I will probably read is The Remains of the Day. But I have also picked up The Buried Giant, which I think I will probably want to read all of Ishiguro's books eventually, because I love Never Let Me Go so much. But yeah, I don't think this is maybe as well regarded as some of his others, but I'm definitely looking forward to giving it a go anyway. Another one that I know a little bit about, Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. I know that this is kind of a series of letters that the main character is writing, and it's a coming-of-age story. Other than that, I don't know a huge amount, but I know it's very well thought of as well. Again, another one I've been wanting to read for quite a while, so lovely to be able to pick that one up fairly cheap as well. Another kind of very well-renowned author who I've never read, Kurt Vonnegut. Slaughterhouse-Five is another one I've been keeping my eye out for quite a while. So again, pleased to pick this one up. But yeah, I know Breakfast of Champions is also very, very well thought of, and probably some others that I don't just have. I think this might be the only Vonnegut I have. I'm trying to think. Yeah, but Breakfast of Champions is one I definitely want to keep an eye out for as well. But yeah, another one I'll look forward to getting to. So this is another book I read as a child. I was younger than when I read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I reckon maybe sort of 11, 12-ish maybe. And when I saw it, I couldn't leave it because there's a lot of nostalgia wrapped up in this book for me. So I will look forward to reading this again. I think, well, there were a number of sequels. I think the one straight after it, I may or may not have read as a kid, but I've got it on the shelf. So I'm going to read this now that I have it. And read that again and see if I remember both of them. But either way, this should be a nice trip down memory lane for me. Another classic here, which I've never read to my shame, Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson. But yeah, I really should have read that when I was younger. But yeah, sort of staying on a kind of vaguely nautical link. Master and Commander, Patrick O'Brian. Now, under normal circumstances, it's not something that would particularly appeal to me at first glance, but I know the books have a big fan base. I know it's a long series. It was a long-running series. What was there, 20 or so books in the series, I think. So it's another one where I thought, well, it's the first one. I know there was obviously a movie made of it with Russell Crowe and Paul Bettany, but no, I never saw that again. Kind of this kind of area was not something that I was overly interested in, but yeah, it's obviously thought of very, very highly, so I really feel like I should give it a go and broaden my horizons a little bit. But that's part of why I wanted to start a BookTube channel, as well as reading some of the stuff that I've wanted to read for a long time and not had the motivation. I wanted to challenge myself and kind of branch out to places that I wouldn't normally go. So yeah, that's one of those things that I will try and do it with. Oh, this here, The Rithouse by Mark Haddon. A long time ago, I read The Curious Incident of the Dog at Night Time, and really enjoyed that. And I haven't read any more of Mark Haddon's books since then. So when I saw this on the shelf again, I think this might have even been 10p, this one. So yeah, really, really cheap. So I thought, yes, definitely worth having a go at that one. Oh, The Children of Men. I was aware this was a book, but I don't think I've ever seen it on the shelves before at any of the stores I've been to. Really enjoyed the film back when I saw it a long, long time ago with Clive Owen, isn't it, I think. But yeah, my memory's pretty bad, and that's got to be at least sort of 10, 15 years ago I saw that film. I don't remember a huge amount other than the basic premise. So yeah, that's another one that I will get to eventually. This one's super popular at the moment and recently. Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. I see a lot of people on BookTube talking about it, and most people raving about it. And a good friend of mine, completely coincidentally, who I don't think has seen any of these videos yet, recommended it to me a few weeks ago, and I managed to pick it up at a car boot sale, really, really cheap. Yeah, I think maybe that was 50p as well, but again, not a lot compared to if I was buying stuff new. So yes, I haven't read a huge amount of romance, but yeah, my friend, said it really, really moved him, and obviously a lot of people seem to love this book. So yes, this is something I will probably try and read sooner rather than later. There's obviously a huge amount of books here that I'll need to get through at some point. Some of them I won't get to for a long, long time, but yeah, this one might be nearer to the top of the pile. I've got some non-fiction stuff I picked up as well. Start With Why by Simon Sinek. This is a book around leadership and management, and although I'm not in the role that I'm about to talk about, my old boss in a previous job was a huge fan of Simon Sinek and kind of did a few presentations around some of the things he's talked about around marketing and leadership. And yeah, I've watched a couple of his TED Talks and what have you, and he's quite an engaging guy. So yeah, this was a book that my old manager, really raved about. So I will read that at some point. Mark Watson, Crap at the Environment. So Mark Watson is a British comedian who I've liked for a long time, seen him live a few times, and like a lot of his stuff online and on TV. And this is a book about him trying to get better at kind of being green, if you like, and being kinder to the environment. Going by the picture on the front, I've not looked up when it came out, but it looks like it was relatively early. He's a successful author in his own right of novels nowadays, but my assumption is that this came before those, but I don't know for sure. But yeah, he's a funny guy, and I'll definitely give that a go. This one is interesting. The Gospel of the Eels by Patrick Svensson. So this is part book about eels and how they interact with each other, but it's also apparently partly about his relationship with his father. So it's kind of part memoir, part informative book about eels, which is a subject I know nothing about. But the cover caught my eye, and that kind of juxtaposition of those two different types of writing sounded interesting to me. So yeah, we'll give that a go as well at some point. And then the other non-fiction is this autobiography, Berserker by Adrian Emerson, who is another British comedian and actor who was at the forefront of a lot of the TV comedy stuff that was really formative for me growing up. So there was a show called The Young Ones and Blackadder, that he was a guest star in one particularly memorable episode of Blackadder, and he's done some more serious acting more recently as well. But yes, very, very big part of my life growing up on the TV screen. So I'm looking forward to giving that a read at some point too. And then what have we got left? Oh yes, there's some over here. So there's a couple here I'm going to put up together. I think my understanding is these are both set in the afterlife in different scenarios. So one is 10 minutes 38 seconds in this strange world by Elif Shafak, and The Seven Moons of Marley Almeida by Shehan Karunatalaka. I hope I haven't mangled either of those names. Huge apologies if so. But I am very intrigued by any kind of afterlife type story. So yeah, both of these seem really interesting, and that cover in particular as well really caught the eye as I was walking past. So yes, a couple of potentially interesting books there. And then what else do we have here? Oh yeah, a couple of books by the same author here, Emily St. John Mandel. So we've got Station 11, which I understand is at first glance a little similar to The Stand, but without the supernatural elements. I believe it's about a kind of a pandemic that wipes out a huge amount of humanity. And Sea of Tranquility is it seems to be like a sci-fi time travel type novel. And again, time travel is another big favorite of mine. In movies in particular, I haven't read many time travel based books, but I would love to read more. So if there are any particular time travel books that you would recommend, please shout. But yes, there's another couple, and then I think we've just got two left here. Oh yeah, one is a book of short stories by Ted Chiang called Stories of Your Life and Others. I think there's 8 stories in this one, and some of the blurbs made it sound very, very good indeed. So yes, another one that should hopefully be a quickish one to get through, with them being kind of shorter, smaller stories. And then this one is called The Glutton, and there is a reason why I picked this one up in particular, and that is the cover. I'm not leaving that cover. I'm not walking past that and leaving it. That's amazing. And this says, it's a novel of desire and destruction in revolutionary France, based on the true story of one man with an insatiable hunger. But yeah, amazing. Superb. Yeah, so those, I feel like I went through those really quickly. Hopefully this has been an interesting video. But yes, I'll be back next time once I've read some more books. I think I'm going to start The Remains of the Day. I think that's my next one, so I will give you an update on how I'm getting on with that next time, probably in a week's time. But until then, take care. Thanks for watching, and if there's any particular book out of these 47 that you really think should go to the top of the pile, please let me know in the comments, and I will try and get to it sooner rather than later. All right, thank you very much. Bye bye.